city's glory, but now we've seen it for ourselves. The city of all heaven's armies that stands forever safe. We have thought on your loving kindness as we worship in your place. As your name deserves, O God, you will be praised. Your strong right hand is righteous. Let the people now be glad. Because of your great justice, let Judah's daughters dance. Zion, consider every wall, that you may tell those who will come after. For such is the one who guides us until death, God forever and ever, God forever and ever, God forever and ever.
Oh, the joy, the joy, the joy of those who delight in the law of the Lord. Oh, the joy, the joy, the joy of those who meditate day and night in the law of the Lord. Oh, the joy, the joy, the joy of those who delight in
458.
There is a place of quiet.
pages back to 437. Wherever he leads, I'll go. 437. Lord, we thank you for allowing us together back here this evening. Lord, we pray that as we go in this time of study that you be with each one of us as we look at your word and look to be better servants of yours as we interact with the world around us. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Off to class, kids. And they're off. Yeah. Classes and 13.
We're going to review how well they've learned things. Absolutely not starting next week.
No, it's 2 pages.
Yes, I stapled them. I try to make them. I could shrink them down to the font size that I can read. I had to, one time in college, I was allowed to have an open note test and whatever you can fit on one piece of paper, so I learned how to read on 6-point font. And I know not everybody here can read 6-point font. Okay, so. What? Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So, while John's pulling that up there, and we're not going to, hopefully it will pause there. It won't automatically start the video. Okay, good. All right. So, Christian view on politics. I'm not here. I am going to make this disclosure. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. or not to vote for. All right, I'm not going to tell you there are, all right, but I am going to tell you to vote. Okay, you should vote. All right, and or at the very least be aware of what you're voting for or what people are not voting for. I'm like, and then this scene came to me from the first film. All right, what? Yeah, we do. So, anyways.
Oh Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Oh Lord,
Okay, there's a rough take on politics right there. Would you take the ring? Because think about this. There's a lot of people who claim, hey, when I'm getting into office, I'm going to do these good things, these three things. How many of you have heard that from some kind of politician? Okay. I'm going to do these good things, whatever those good things are. But when they get in office, all of a sudden something happens. And those good things just flutter away. Or they try to do these good things, but something's laced onto that good thing, and it's not so good. Okay? So the question, and so the question becomes, would you take the ring? Would you should we Christians get involved in the political process at all? All right? Because we know this. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay? From a human perspective, when we're as humans, power tends to corrupt. The more power or influence you have, it'll corrupt you and or the people around you. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. All right? We've seen this throughout history, okay? We can think of any sort of leader, okay, who was, when they became king or emperor or whatever, okay, and all of a sudden we thought they were kind of corrupt, but then they got into power, and then you could see how corrupt they were. Okay? So, would you take the ring? It's like, Gandalf was a good character, okay? He was a good guy. And he knew if he were to take that power, what it would mean. Okay? So, just be thinking about this. Because I will say this, there are Christian politicians out there. There are Christian politicians, professing, believing Christians out in politics today. All right? And we should definitely pray for them as well as the other politicians. Okay? All right? Because it's a very, very dangerous game. Okay? Very dangerous game. Okay? So, because politics and power, they go hand in hand. I'm just going to say that. Politics and power go hand in hand. And if you're looking down on your first two vocab words, we're going to take care of those. Okay? By the way, that's Lord Acton, who attributes that quote there. So I'm going to start off with a couple of memes, and I do have some other. If you guys want to get with me afterwards, I have some ones that did make the cut. But here's one: when someone places all the blame for the problems in government on one political party, okay, everything that's going wrong is the Democrats' fault, or everything going wrong is the Republicans' fault, or everything's wrong is whatever part. If you're in another country, whatever political party it was, okay. How many have heard that? It's all the Democrats' fault, or it's all the Republicans' fault, or it's all the, All right? So, but yeah, it's like, nah. Okay? All right? What's the real problem? Whenever there's a problem in the government, what's the problem? Sin. That goes back to our theology. It all boils down to, is man good or is man not good inherently? Okay? And when you get, okay, and for example, in our Congress, there's 435 of them. Okay, and the House represents another 100 in there. So there's like 500 plus sinners in one building, plus their staffs. Okay? Okay, just saying, more people, more sin. That's just the way it works. All right? All right, so here we are with our jigsaw puzzle. We have theology attached to ethics, sociology there, how we view society. Psychology's over there, philosophy, politics, and how we view culture and how we should view our soul. And then law should be next to politics. Okay, and, oh, wait a minute, I forgot one. Science and biology. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, so we got Marvin the Martian here. Okay, all right, he's getting a pretty decent view of Earth. He still probably wants to blow it up so he can see Venus better. But here he is. He's got his 8 out of his 10 lenses working on his telescope now. Okay, so you can kind of see pretty well. Alrighty, see pretty well. All right, so I also consulted some experts. Okay, and I consider them, experts in their field, not necessarily in politics, but they're experts in their field. All right, the first one's Groucho Marx. He's definitely an expert. Okay, politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedies. Okay, again, that's Groucho Marx. Okay, he's not related to Karl Marx in any way, I don't think. We are going to look at him a little bit. All right, and then we have Gore Vidal. Politics is made up of 2 words: poly, which in Greek means many, that's true, and ticks, which are blood-sucking insects. Okay. He was a philosopher. I'm not saying he was a political expert. I just said they were experts. Okay. All right. So power. This is our definition of power. When it comes to worldview and the politics specifically, is the ability to do something or act in a particular way. Okay? The ability to do something or act in a particular way. Okay? So, when we're born, okay, we have very little amount of power. Okay? We have very little, in other words, we have very little ability to do anything other than the basic survival things. We can breathe, okay? All right. We have to learn how to eat. All right. That doesn't necessarily come naturally, okay? And we have to learn to be able to take care of ourselves and all that. But as we grow up, okay, those kids, as the kids get older, they realize, oh, I have a little bit more power now. My brain starts to operate a little bit better or more efficiently, or making critical things. And all of a sudden they hit the teenage years. And what do those teenagers think? What?
You don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, as an adult, the adults know nothing. If you're over 30, you know nothing. Okay? If you're above 30, you don't know anything. So, okay, power. This is how I see teenagers at this point. Anybody remember the Aladdin cartoon with Robin Williams as Genie? Aladdin. Phenomenal cosmic powers. Itty-bitty space. Okay? All right. So, but that's and then as we get older, okay, right, we get into a job, okay, whatever job that is, and if you're the owner or manager or whatever, okay, you're going to have more power over your subordinates, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's power. Okay, politics this is what it's supposed to be. Okay, this is the dictionary definition. This is what it's supposed to be. Okay, it's not what you may see on television shows. It's not what it's supposed to be, what people have made it out today, but it's supposed to be the study of community governance. Okay, the operating words are study and community. Okay, and, all right, and how a community should be governed. Okay, that's politics. Okay. And so when we look at politics, we should be looking at, okay, how is this community operating? And you can look at communities different ways. You can look at the small, okay, just a citywide like Mexico. You can look at county. You can look at state. You can look at federal, or you can look at multinational, depending upon how you want to study it. All right? But that's what it is, politics. All right? The social contract, and this is what we should have, okay, this is a belief that individuals want a society for either implicit or complicit agreement with the government. Okay? In other words, we have an unwritten contract with the government whereby citizens forfeit some of the freedoms in exchange for safety. Okay? Freedom and safety is a spectrum. Okay? Do you want absolute freedom? And we got some worldviews out there that want absolute freedom. Or do you want absolute safety? Okay? Okay? Okay, you can go on both extremes. Okay, but a lot of us here probably want some kind of balance. Yes, we want safety. Yes, we want our freedom. So where are you going to fall? Okay. All right. Where are you going to fall? And there's usually three, at least in this country, there's three main camps. Okay. All right. Three main camps on how this social contract should work. Okay. Anybody else? So here's our first one. Do I need to go back? Oh, back. Okay. Sorry. All right. But that's social. All right. So again, social contract. All right. And that's what we should have. And again, social. Okay. That's up to interpretation. And a contract. Okay, once you get and we talk to lawyers, contracts get involved. Okay, there's a lot of different interpretations of that contract. Okay, so, right, does it really say you have to pay your fine, or does it really have to say, whatever the contract is, or do you really have to document or get along with whatever that person, that business or whatever is? Okay, so are we good now? Okay, all right, so. Conservatism. Okay, this is where. Okay, this is part of the spectrum. Okay, this is part of the freedom versus safety spectrum. Okay, so these guys on one side of the spectrum, they want a system of government based on respect for historical precedent. They are huge on that, especially talking with the court systems. Okay, that's what they're supposedly labeled as. Okay, what happened in that particular or a very similar case 50 years ago or 100 years ago? Okay, limited government and strict interpretation of the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so what does the Constitution say? And they want to try to go to the letter of the law. Okay, and there are moral principles based on natural law. Okay, that's conservatism. Okay, now, and there's people who believe, this is their flavor of politics. Okay? This is their flavor of politics. We have a second one, liberalism. Okay? The system of government that is based on the belief that the direct government intervention is the best help for both society and individuals. Okay? I'm going to say that one more time really slowly. It's a system of government that's based on the belief that the direct government intervention is the best help for both society and individuals. All right. My question is this. When you have a problem of any kind, I want you to think about this as you guys are writing. When you think about, you have a problem of any kind, okay, outside of a medical emergency, obviously you're going to call 911. All right? But any kind of problem, car problem, relationship problem, kid problem, whatever. Who do you guys call first? Or text? I said nothing super, I know. Yeah. Who do you call, text, send a message to? Oh, okay, your spouse. Yeah. If you're a kid, you call your parents. Hey, I will say this. I'm 40 years old. If there's a problem with my car and I can't nail it down, I will definitely call my dad. All right, because he's worked on cars for 65 years. Okay, he knows how. He kind of knows how the things work. All right, and if he can't figure it out, then I take it to the mechanic. All right. Notice I didn't say I called the government mechanic hotline. All right. Who else do we, just...
It's kind of interesting that I went through, for emergency preparedness stuff.
Yes.
Went through the FEMA training.
Yes.
And they work on an instant command system, which is,
Yes.
if you can handle it yourself, you handle it.
Yes.
Then it just expands out. Your police department, sheriff,
Right.
county,
Right.
state,
Yes.
and federal.
Yes.
And each one has its own incompetences.
Yes.
And chaos.
Yes.
involved.
Yes. And we talked about laws last week with Christian Worldview and how we should interpret laws. All right. And what Scripture says, okay, what is the closest or the smallest form of government should be helping out there, the smallest form. All right, and as Christians, we should be helping out our neighbors. And who is our neighbor? All y'all. Yeah, everybody. Okay, so, okay. Now, I will say this: in the event of medical emergencies, car wrecks, things like that, yes, we're going to be calling a government entity rather quickly. We're going to call Hallway Patrol or the Audrain County Direct Communications, okay, for help. Okay, that's what they're there for. Okay, but most of us, if there's our typical everyday problem, we're probably not going to call the government for it. Just saying. All right, now the third one is libertarianism. This is the belief that they uphold individual liberty, and the people should be allowed to do whatever they want. There's an exemption here, as long as they don't infringe upon the rights of others. Okay? And those rights are spelled out in the U.S. Constitution. Okay? So, as I can do whatever, I want, as long as I don't interfere with Ron's freedom of speech. Or anybody else's freedom of speech. Or your freedom of religion. Okay? That's a good summation. John, did I sum that up good enough? Okay. I mean, all right. And I will say this. There are flavors within these three, but these three are the main three, okay, that we see here in the United States. Okay? And again, they're on these freedom versus safety. All right? God could give us absolute safety, but guess what goes away? Freedom. All right? He could, you can protect your kid or kids, okay, and make sure they're in a little bubble filled with bubble wrap and styrofoam, okay, but they have absolutely no freedom. I'm saying you could, and they never get a bruise on their knee or whatever. Okay, you could do that, but my personal take is no. They need to get bruised knees every once in a while. I'm just saying. All right. So everyone got those? Okay. All right. So here's the question. Okay, when it comes to seeing politics and being involved in politics, all right, we're going to see people. All right, it does come down to a theological issue. Okay, do humans have a sin nature or a pure and good nature? As Christians, we have a sin, by default, humans have a sinful nature. That's our default. Okay? So, this is how people, okay, here's the center view of politics. Okay, this is where, okay, this is where most Christians, okay, I should say all Christians should, most Christians do, okay, because I've come across some flavors of, I don't know if I would call it Christianity, but they claim to be Christians, but they believe everybody's in a pretty good person. Okay? I'm like, obviously they've never done nursery duty. All right? I'm just saying. Okay? So, human beings are inherently sinful and government is necessary to secure peace. Okay? All right? And there's the other one. Okay? Is human beings are inherently good and can be perfected under the right political conditions. If we just give them the right structure of some kind, they'll turn out good. We give them the right kind of education. We give them the right kind of food. We give them the right kind of home life. We give them the right kind of this and that and the other, and they'll turn out good. All right. My question is, I want you guys to think about somebody who you know, okay? All right, that they grew up in what most people would consider a good environment. Whether a combination of a good home environment, a good school environment, decent friends or whatever, but all of a sudden they turned out really, really bad. I want you to think about that. All of a sudden, hey, they were decent in high school or whatever, and all of a sudden you find out 5-10 years later they've been in prison for 6 years. Okay? All right? I will say this, okay? I probably went to high school with a couple of those people. All right? All right? All right? Sorry. There's too much evidence. You can go on at any news station's website and find out which one of these is more accurate. How much bad news is there? How many bad news articles, negative news articles are there out there, okay, versus good ones out there? That's why I don't watch a lot of news. It's depressing. All right, so here we go. Here is the secular atheistic take on politics. This boils down to, okay, I'm going to cover this in just a second here because it's based on a system called distributive justice. Okay, and it has 7 different components. They've outlined it. A couple of their political philosophers have outlined this. Okay, and it was actually outlined in a presidential candidate speech within the past. I will say this, outlined it in the past 20 years. Okay. All right. So, okay, they believe in progressivism. Okay? Belief that human progress within a political system or systems can be used to create economic prosperity and advance society. They're all about making money. All right? And how can we make money politically? Okay? That's progressivism. All right? How can I help my friends out? You know, if I'm a politician, how can I help my friends out who are maybe small business owners or whatever? How can I help them make money? Okay. How can I, if I'm involved, if I know some stockbrokers, how can I help them make money? All right. And then on the side here, hey, can I invest in your company? At the same time, you know, it happens. Okay. All right. All right. And I could point out several current elected officials who subscribe to that because the bills that they introduce, it's all about, okay, how can we help this particular business, this group of businesses out, or this special business, or this corporation, or these group of corporations, or whatever, to help them some way, shape, or form. All right? Or maybe it's just helping them get a government contract for this new experiment. All right? And so, in turn, when that company succeeds at that experiment, they get billions and billions of dollars because they've created some new drug. All right? So, that's progressivism. Okay. So, this guy was definitely a secularist. Okay, here it is. The rights of man depend on his nature, needs, capacities, and aspirations, not upon his origins. What he did, what in that first sentence here, what did he just discount or completely wipe off the plate here? God, your origin. Guess what? Yeah, that's his theology. Okay, right there. All right, you can't deal with a worldview at all without dealing first with the theology. Right there. Not upon his origins. Okay? Children have rights not because they are our creatures, but because of what they are and will become. It is not God, but the human community that endows its members with rights. All right. So, let's say this is true. All right, this is the way this is work. If this is reality, this is the way it would work. Okay? God doesn't give you rights. The city of Mexico gives you all your rights. Or the Audrain County, if you live outside the city limits, gives you your rights. And the rights you're given is based upon who's in your neighborhood. I mean, I think Ron and I would be okay, maybe, as neighbors. But I don't know about the rest of you all with your neighbors. But yeah. They want to take God out of politics. That's part of their philosophy. Okay? So here's distributive justice. Okay? Here's what they know. First 7 points. All right. First thing is, social goods can be quantified. Liberty, opportunity, and respect. In other words, how much liberty on a spectrum like 0 to 100 do you want? You know, how much liberty? Or how much can you buy? How much liberty can you buy? All right? How much opportunity can you buy? How much respect can you buy or sell? Or somehow give some quantifiable meaning to? Anybody glad we don't have to buy our own respect necessarily with money in a lot of cases? All right? No. I definitely would be maxing out credit cards like crazy. All right? I'd have one for each kid. It'd be maxed out. Okay? The amount of freedom or liberty you have. How much you're willing to spend on whatever. Cashing in favors. Anybody? All right? All right. Second thing. Redistribution accomplishes fairness. In other words, redistribution of what? Wealth is one. Goods, services, everything. It doesn't limit it to just wealth. Redistribution accomplishes fairness. They believe, one of you has $1 million and your neighbor only has $10,000. You need to give $500,000 to your neighbor so that they feel better. That's a brief summation. Because it's fair. All right. Number 3, resources are best in the hands of who want them versus those who are more capable of stewarding them. All right, resources are best in the hands of who wants them. Ron, do you want an Abram battle tank? Or some? It would be kind of cool, yeah, right?
Pretty worthless, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, okay. But you know, all right.
I'll let you drive it.
I wouldn't mind driving it, you know. You might need a new fence afterwards, but I'm just saying. But yeah, you know, resources are best in the hands of who want them versus those who are capable of stewarding them. That's a little scary. Do we give our 12, 13, 14-year-old kid keys to the car? Even though they really want to drive, they want their independence, do we really give the 12, 13, 14-year-old kids the keys to the car? No. Well, depends on the vehicle too. I'm like, are you going to give them, okay, they may say, hey, I want this brand new Mercedes. They want the 2020, that's 2025 is coming, models are out now. 2025 Mercedes-Benz, okay? And they're 12, 13, 14. Are you going to give that to her? No, sorry. Okay? How about we give, you know, who want them? You know, think about this. Think about what you know, just because you want something doesn't mean you're capable of using it. All right? Kind of like that tank. I might kind of know how to drive it, but I don't think it would be in my hands best. Those tank commanders in the armed services, they spend weeks and weeks and weeks learning how to drive it forwards, backwards, left, right, sideways, whatever. Okay? In a variety of terrains. Okay? Yes. And then they have to pass a test on kind of like an advanced driver's test and to make sure that they're capable of driving that vehicle. Okay? All right, so the fourth one. In addition to redistribution is fair, it's also the morally right thing to do. Okay? So, let's say you are a supervisor in your particular work of employment, and all of a sudden, you know, this stuff goes full blown here, and they believe, okay, guess what? It's the morally right thing to do for you to give 30% of your paycheck to one of your subordinates because you want to redistribute the wealth. Marilyn, would you have given up 30% of your paycheck? And I'm like, I'm thinking medical field. I'm like, sorry, but I'm not willing to, the doctors, the doctors, nurses, and all the other medical people, they deserve whatever it is they get, for their salary. Okay?
You're talking 3 and 4. We're seeing that with FEMA.
Yes.
Involved with our
Yeah.
hurricane.
Yes, they are. Yeah, you are seeing this. Okay. All right. Now, in events, I will say this: in an emergency situation, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, things like that, should we who are unaffected send relief efforts to them? Absolutely. Okay. All right. But this is sort of like they want to put this into as a requirement, regardless if it's an emergency or not. Okay. All right. Here it is. People are basically good if disadvantages are all removed. They'll succeed. Anybody know someone who had minimal disadvantages and they still fell flat on their face? I mean, they had decent parents, they had a decent school, they had blah blah blah. They may have been academically gifted or whatever, okay, and they had no disadvantages whatsoever, and they still fell flat on their face. So, yeah. But I also know people who, once those disadvantages were removed, they were good. They had some disadvantage and they got removed and they did succeed. But they're saying all people. Okay? People actually want to succeed. What's the definition? What's the definition of succeed or succeeding or success? Okay. Some people's definition of success, some people's definition of success, depending upon where they are in the world, is survive and make sure they have enough food or water so that way they can survive the next day. Okay. Here, okay. I'm just thinking as a high school teacher, and I'm seeing things. I'm like, guys, you're given an opportunity. You don't have to pay. You as a student don't have to pay for your education at this point. Okay, you're given a ton of what is free to you resources. Someone's paying for them. Okay, through taxes or whatever else, public, depending on public. But I'm like, how many of you have seen the apathetic student? They don't care. They're like.
Well, if they get somebody to feed them,
Right.
They got a house over their head.
Right. Okay.
What's the point doing more?
Right. Yeah. I have the bare minimums met. Why should I want more? There's.
Food, water, shelter. That's it.
Yeah. And some.
We're rich.
Right. So people actually want to succeed. I'm like, unfortunately I'm seeing this throughout cultures. They may not want people. They don't want to succeed. They want other people to fail. And they want, if you fail, you fail, you fail, you fail, I look good. I don't have to, and I'm just doing the bare minimum. But if I'm doing the bare minimum and 3 or 4 other people fail, then I look pretty good. All right, and that's what I'm seeing. If anyone else seeing that, or am I the crazy one?
If they succeed, it's their fault.
Right.
And you're a victim.
Yes.
There was a study where he said, I saw this online somewhere, that one, they grew up in a horrible living environment, and one was homeless, drug addict, been in jail, all sorts of things, and the other one was a very successful businessman. And they interviewed them and asked them both why they ended up the way they were, and they both answered, well, you saw my background, how could I not end up where I was? It was what
Yeah.
one wanted
Yeah.
to succeed and the other needs to succeed.
Correct. Yes. So, last one. Only persons who are able to claim their rights actually have them. This one is very dangerous. Why? Only people who are able to claim their rights actually have them. Right. Correct. And that's basically what particular group or subgroup of our society? Kids. disabled people. Yeah. Whether it's true. Okay. So, yeah. The extremes of society: 10 and under, 80 and up. Okay. And then anyone else in between who has some kind of disability or unawareness for whatever reason. Okay? That's the system they want to put in place. Okay? And by the way, these 7 points were mentioned in the 2008 Democratic National Convention by one of their candidates who got elected. All right. So, the Marxist. All right. Not Groucho. This is Carl. Okay. All right. Communism. This is their goal. This is their goal. A classless utopian society in which all property is commonly owned, otherwise known as the state. Utopian sounds good. Am I right? Utopian sounds pretty good. Okay? No such thing as private property. As Americans, we're like, oh, we kind of like private property, except when we have to pay the county clerk at the end of the year. We don't like our private property then necessarily. No such thing as private property. Suppress capitalism. It's bad. Capitalism is evil. Free market economy is evil. But yeah, that's communism. Okay? Everything is about the state. Everything's about the government. All right? Question on that? All right? That's Marxist. Okay? All right. Now, these next couple ones, they're going to be a little bit unique, partially because the first two have been around for a couple hundred years. The postmodern has only been around for maybe 100. Okay. Now, the ideas that they got were ancient, but the postmodern take is developing in the last 100 years. Okay. They want anarchism. Okay. They believe the government is inherently oppressive and should therefore be abolished. The goal is to be self-governed. Where's the problem with that? What's the problem with being self-governed? Yes. Okay. I'm going to govern myself. But unfortunately, we tend to, I'm going to govern myself the way I should, but I'm also the tendency is I'm going to govern you the way I'm going to govern me. I'm going to try to govern you the same way. Okay? Doesn't work. It doesn't work on a large scale. Okay? Why doesn't self-governingness work on a large scale? Because we're all evil. Yes. Again. All right. Anarchy. A society that exists without government control. Okay? Some people like, yes! Okay? I remember, for whatever reason, I think it was either middle school or high school trend that people were drawing anarchy symbols all over their notebooks and everything like that, for whatever reason. Did that happen in Mexico, or is that just a Kansas City thing? I don't know. But yeah, anarchy. Okay? So here's the thing. The postmodernists have a general distrust of any political system to help out with social problems. All right? A general distrust of any political system to help out with any social problems. Okay. Anybody starting to think, oh, maybe I'm postmodernist a little bit? In here? You don't have to raise your hand. All right? Do we not trust the system, or not trust the people in charge of the system? So that's my question for you guys to ponder there. All right. So that's the postmodern take. The new spirituality take, okay, is coming up here. What's the new spirituality people take? You should notice a trend about what they believe over the past few weeks. What do they believe? What do you think? What do you think? Before we turn the slide. The new spirituality take about government or politics. What do you guys think? Do you think they have a high priority in government? Low priority for government? What do you guys think?
I guess the whole idea when you're people allowing the Holy Spirit to lead and tell the government officials what they need to be doing.
You're close. You're close. You're close. You're close. All right. So, by the way, postmodernists, if you've ever heard the term political correctness, it was these guys. They're the ones who's political correctness. All right. All right. I found that out. All right. New spirituality. Okay. The political system needs to be transformed, not reformed. Okay. That's what they believe. They also want self-government. Okay. And here's the thing: transcending all material and individual boundaries. Remember, new spirituality. These origins in the Far East. They believe that material stuff, the actual physical matter, doesn't really matter. It doesn't. They don't care about it. It's all about the spirit and spirits. Okay. And God is energy, and people are basically good. Is their assumption? God is energy, and humans are basically good. All right? And the goal is to be, you're going to be in charge of your own universe. If you evolve enough. If you transform enough times and you evolve enough times, you'll transcend all material, and then you're going to become your own God and have your own set of rules in your own universe. So that's that one. All right. All right. So here's the Islamic take on government. Because now I will say this. This is a. By the way, this is my take on this one. You are not God. Okay. And I'm talking to everybody in here and anyone who's listening online. You're not God. As much as you want to be, as much as you want to try to be, as what you may try to act, whatever, you're not. All right. The Islamic take. They have a theocracy in place. In most of their countries that have Islamic-controlled government, is a theocracy. In other words, their priests. Okay, I can't remember the actual. Their priests or their rabbis is Jewish. I'm trying to remember what they're called. Imams. Okay. Those guys are in charge of either the local political process, the small towns, up to the national level politics. Okay, they're the ones who have control. Now, I'm not saying all, of the Islamic cultures have this, but that's what they have. That's what a lot of them do have. Okay, everyone, and this is their belief. Everyone should convert and be governed under Islamic rules and laws. It's in the Quran. Okay. Now, jihad is part of it. Okay, and this is what they have. This is actually in the Quran. Okay, non-converts live in an Islamic state. So if if all of a sudden we were transported to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, one of the other Islamic-based governments, okay, we're required to pay a special tax known as the jizya, okay, because we're non-converts. So in addition to paying whatever the other taxes are, as a non-Muslim, you have to pay this extra tax. Okay? So, that's their take. All right? What's the problem with having priests and imams or rabbis or whatever in charge of the government as well as the religion? What's the problem or potential problem? Right, yeah, if you're not one of them. Yeah, that's one problem. If you're not one of them, if If you decide to, all of a sudden you wake up and you don't want to do it anymore. Well, all right. What else? Go ahead.
How do people know? Okay, for instance, if you went over and said, "Oh, you wait,"
Okay.
and he said that I said I was Muslim, and they would say, "Okay, I paid the tax. You don't have to pay the tax." Or how do they?
There has to be proof. There has to be what mosque do you attend to, and what your local imam and who they're, would be able to testify on your behalf that, hey, you go to this, and then ask you all these procedure type questions. Okay, do you pray to Allah? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you that? All these stepping stones to be able to prove you are or you're not. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because and they have there's ways of they have ways of checking. All right. So it's not just I can claim it, name it, and claim it. Yeah. No. There's ways of doing basically a background check on you. All right. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. You were getting ready to say something? Oh, okay. All right. So, but yeah, that's them. All right. So, all right, that's all the non-Christian worldview, the main non-Christian worldviews, and some basic vocabulary. We have the next slide is starting on the Christian progression. In other words, we're going to be starting with, let's see if I can get to the, oh, no. All right. Oh, there's a quick, all right. And here's the question that's being asked. Can Christians be involved in politics, or should they be involved in politics? And I'm going to end with this video for tonight. And I think, let's see here. We do not have service next week. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. I'm just making sure. Okay. So, but yeah, I want you guys to think about this. This movie is about 20 years old. All right, you might recognize a few of the actors and whatnot from other roles, but just watch here. Let's see if I can get it to go here. Be a political activist. So this is, if you have not seen this, I do have a copy of it. It's Amazing Grace. This is based on the true story of William Wilberforce, who was the leader in the abolitionist movement. All right. At one point in time, he was contemplating, young in his career, he was like being an elected politician and do everything there, or leave all the political training, all the politics stuff behind, and go be a preacher. That was his big moment, and part of his social circle. It was written in his journals and such. He's like, okay, it's possible to do both. They didn't say, and notice what they didn't say. It's not easy. I will say this, it's not easy being a Christian in politics, or being involved in any form of politics, regardless of the level, regardless of the involvement. It's not easy. Okay? And we're going to, when we get back together in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go through the progression, at least in this country, the progression of how Christians view on politics, how it's evolved from 200 years ago or so till today, because it has changed. Okay? It has changed. But I tend to agree, not just that, but yeah, you can be, work for God and be involved in the political process. Okay? So, any other questions for tonight? Alrighty. All right, see everybody back together in a couple of weeks, unless you come to Wednesday night.